Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the July 28th edition of Millennial and Gen Z in Korea, Trends, News, and Insight. I hope you can all hear and see me well, but if there's any technical issue, if you're not seeing anything or hearing anything, feel free to let us know in the chat function. And also, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, then feel free to use the Q&A, or even if you wanted to use the chat to make some comments, we'll very welcome of you using those functions as well. So welcome, and let's get started then. So today's topic, so this is our second edition of this webinar. And our plan, of course, if you have attended our last webinar, then is to bring you some of the latest trends and insight regarding Gen Z and millennials in Korea, and then we will give you some of our insight, our take on it. So today's topic really is looking into some of the trends on how our Korean Gen Z finding motivation in 2021, especially during this COVID era that we are living in right now. I'll show with you one of the trends that we have saw and we are seeing right now regarding Gen Z motivating themselves. And also at the end, we'll give you a take our view on it, our take on it, and to hopefully it will give you some new information and give you some insight on how to work with Gen Z better and how to motivate them better and how to get the most out of them when it comes to performance. Because at the end of the day, this topic is our passion, not because of we are selling any product. It's because one of our aim is to help people in Korea, in the workplace, to work better. It is one of our goals, and we believe that generation diversity is great, is important, is absolutely an advantage that any company can get if you're doing it right. And really, that is really our purpose when it comes to helping people to work better and understanding Generation Z. I truly believe is something that is very, very important now, if not more important in the future, in the next 1 or 2 or even 5 to 10 years. So here's what it is, right? And really, if we go to the beginning on how did we spotted this trend of Korean Gen Z motivating themselves, I guess it started somewhere along a couple months ago when we're doing our research on this topic, we specifically, our team and we spotted an interesting piece of news, not necessarily good news or bad news, it's just news for us, on Saramin, which is a job portal, and they have a lot of data with people regarding work and recruitment, obviously, as well. But this particular type of news, that the headline, if I translate it a little bit, a rough translation from Korean to English, is the managers in Korea are not happy with the Gen Z employees. So this is the topic that caught our eyes, and we look more into it. And when we look into the report on the reason why managers are not happy with the Gen Z employees, so the numbers that show is around 42% of managers in Korea finding it difficult to manage Gen Z employee. And one of the top number one reason of why they are finding it difficult to manage Gen Z employee is, you can see the graph here, is that they think that the Gen Z employee are not motivated to take on responsibility. That's the number one reason managers are finding it difficult, followed by they believe that the Gen Z employees are not they don't consider other people when it comes to working, and also being impatient and lacking adaptability. These are the 4 things, but the first one is the one that really caught our eyes when it comes to trying to understand Gen Z and their relationship with their managers in the workplace. The managers, a lot of them find that Gen Z employees are not motivated to take on responsibility. And that really got us curious about this situation, this phenomenon. Is a Gen Z employee in Korea, are they not motivated to take on responsibility, or we are simply not motivating them correctly, right? So it got us thinking, and while we were doing our research, online and offline through talking to people and through doing research online. One particular hashtag caught our eyes. And yes, when we do research, we look at hashtags, either on Twitter, on Instagram, or on other social media. We often find it useful because it helps us to identify what the trends are. It also helps us to find out what are some of the conversations happening, and also what are some of the conversation that is happening regarding the younger generation. So yes, we do use hashtag as a way to do our research when it comes to understanding the workforce. So this particular hashtag that we found in Korean, of course, through my team that they find it, maybe something that you already have came across. Oh, hold on, we've got a question here already. Let me go back to that later, Ina. But thank you for your questions. We have an answer for that. So Ina's question is it particularly in Korea? If the latest group, what's the reason? Does it have to do with the manager characteristic in Korea? So I'll come back to that later. But let's go back to this hashtag that I found. Maybe it's something that you already came across. Maybe you're active on Twitter. Maybe you're active on Instagram. This particular hashtag that we found related to Gen Z and their motivation. This is the hashtag, right? And 일상력 challenger. I like to look at Korean hashtag because sometimes I learn some new Korean words, because a lot of the time on the internet, then there's some new words that are being created or in the hashtag in the hashtag universe, so to speak. And this is also a new word that is combining two words together, right? 일상력 means somebody who's using putting an effort on a daily basis. And challenger is just the word challenger itself. It's a direct translation from the English word challenges. So this word put together means somebody who makes an effort into overcoming some daily challenges. So what that means is, so when somebody when they have come, usually this hashtag appears, or people use this hashtag when they have on social media, it's when they have completed a challenge that they have set for themselves today. So let's say today I'm going to do this, and once they have completed it, usually they will take a picture of it or video of it or evidence of it, and then they will upload it, and then they will usually add this hashtag onto the post. And this is a particular trending post that has been happening in 2021. Some research have found that this hashtag is popular. A lot of it is because of the quarantine, when people working at home. They find it a little bit difficult to motivate themselves. The Gen Z find that they wanted to interact with the world. That's why they set up some daily challenge for themselves to overcome. And particular research from Teaneu 20s Lab, which is a market research agency focusing on Korean Gen Z and Millennial, right? They found that actually 77% of Gen Z in Korea consider themselves as a daily routine challenger, somebody who have set a challenge for themselves on a daily basis to overcome. In fact, from their particular piece of research, they found that on an average, every Gen Z, they would have 2.2 daily challenge every day. So yeah, so this is what it is, right? This is a little bit, so we got curious about this Gen Z making themselves motivated to take on responsibility, right? If you look back to the research, the survey we looked at earlier, where managers are saying that Gen Z are not motivated to take responsibility. However, what we're finding out online is one of the most trending keywords, hashtag, is about motivating themselves to take responsibility, right? So that got us really interested in this hashtag. And yeah, so Iris, there is the average of challenge per day. So average of challenge that they have themselves per day. Numbers of challenge that they do every day, 2.2 on an average. So yeah, you got us really interested, right? So what is this daily challenge? How does it work? What does it mean for them when it comes to motivating themselves to overcome challenges? You're welcome, Iris. So as I said earlier, it's really about setting a daily challenge for themselves. And then by completing these challenges, usually there's a bigger theme, right? Usually there's a larger goal that they wanted to achieve. But by taking a step-by-step, day-by-day approach, that's how Gen Z try to achieve this larger goal by setting up a daily challenge that they do every day. And so what do they do, right? Well, so maybe some interesting research to look at is, so what exactly are they challenging themselves on, right? What are some of the challenges related? What are those goals that they are setting? So the majority of the goals are actually personal development goals that involve learning new languages, learning new skills for their jobs, or or practicing certain particular skills that is good for their personal development. Most of the time it's professionally related, right? It's about studying, working on skills. So actually 76%, close to 77% are those goals are related to that. The second most popular type of goals are personal health related. So that involve eating healthy, doing exercise, or just general health related issue. The third more popular type of challenges are involved with personal hobbies. About learning about your the personal hobbies, for maybe practicing a guitar or learn to sing, those kind of stuff, hobby related. And the other challenges, remaining challenges are stress management, that will be related to having better mental health, well-being. The fourth one, the fifth one is personal appearances. That's more about taking care of yourself, skincare, body care, hair care, those kind of stuff also involved in some of the challenges as well. And the last one, you may be surprised too. The last challenge that are popular with Gen Z involve improving relationship with others. So that could involve, I'm going to call this person today, or I'm going to send certain amount of text message, or I'm going to send a gift to this person today as a daily challenge. So again, so the first one, the most popular one, is related to personal development, right? It's about learning new skills, studying, or improving the professional aspect, professional profile when it comes to their own personal career. So that is the most popular challenges with Gen Z. And as I said earlier, we got really interested in how this really work, right? How does daily challenge really work? And so we looked into it, and so this is this is something that my team found. This one particular person daily challenge is I guess this is health related, which is drink more water. So this person has a water reminder on his phone or her phone to remind themselves to drink water. But really, like, how does Generation C use daily challenge? And we got deeper into this particular topic, and as same with anything that is a trend, same as anything that's worth doing. Usually when there's a trend comes out, then what usually follow is an app on your phone usually follows, simply because how attached we are with our mobile device. Then usually the next steps is that an application would appear to help you complement this lifestyle or complement this habit, this trend that you have. And there is an app for that. And we look into the app and we find out there are some particular interesting elements that help people to work on their daily challenge. So maybe some of you have seen this already. So if you are using this app, then good for you. So I see that you have taken on some daily challenge. So this is what the app is called Challenges. See, Challenge Apps is a Korean app. And this app has a really well-designed user experience that heavily uses gamification to help people to achieve their goals, to encourage people, to nudge people, so to speak, to take more responsibility for themselves and to motivate themselves to do it. So I'm going to pick apart, I'm not going to explain the whole app because on how it works. So I'm going to pick some particularly interesting part of this app on elements that we think will be useful when it comes to motivating and helping people, particularly Gen Z, to take on responsibility and stay motivated. So if you have not seen this, use this app before, this is how it works, right? So there are about 300 types of challenges on this app that you can pick, ranging from studying English for 30 minutes a day, practice piano for 10 minutes, or drinking water, drink water every day. Or some, I think Lauren, my team member, she found some as simple as waking up at 6 a.m. every morning. That is also a challenge as well. So how it works is, so you set your daily goal, and also you will set your long-term goal as well, right? You set a time period on how long you wanted to do this goal for. And after you have done that, then what you need to do is you need to put down a deposit. So that deposit, I think there's a minimum amount. I think it's, so Lauren, what is the minimum amount? You can type that in the chat. I think the minimum amount is man one, 10,000 Korean won, $10. And by completing this challenge, right? So if you do this challenge, then if I'm not wrong, I think if you were able to complete 80 to 85% of your challenges, then you will get your deposit back by the end of the time frame that you have set for yourself. And if you achieve 100% of those target that you have set for yourself, then you would earn a bonus from the deposit that you put on. Depending on how difficult the challenge is and depending on how much you put on it, then there's a flexibility on how you can get how much you get out of it. So the last time I checked, I think there's around 2 million user download right now on this app. And we looked into it, and then we find out that there are some elements that involve in helping people, nudging people to stay motivated and to take responsibility on their own personal development, or when it comes to completing some of those goals. And so from the very basic 4 elements of gamification were there. We were able to notice that the 4 level. If you are familiar with gamification, then you have seen this already. So the first thing that involve is there are levels, just like a game. When it comes to the challenges, there are levels on how all the goals are broke down into very small pieces, into daily goals, and eventually the end game of that is to complete all those goals. Right? As I said earlier, 100% is the end level. At each stage of the challenge that you set for yourself, it's broken down into daily challenges, right? So there are levels when it comes to completing the goals. The second part of it is there are points involved. Points means that there is a immediately feedback loop on showing how well you have done today. So for example, if you have achieved this goal, then you would know. If you haven't, then you would not know. And then you know that you haven't done this on today, right? So there's point involved, and the more day-to-day challenge that you have completed, obviously you get more points, and eventually you get 100 points, which means that you get a bonus, right? 100, okay, so you can, so Lauren put it in the text, so you can put from 10,001 to 200,001 per challenge. So the stick can get a little bit high, up to $200 US, one here we're talking about. Thanks, Lauren, per challenge. So the fourth thing when it comes to this particular gamifications of the apps is there's a progression indicator. Progression indicator, simply put, is you can see in a dashboard at one look to see how far you have progressed it when it comes to the end game that you're looking at. So you can see the progress that you have made or the progress that you have not made. And the fourth one is obviously there's a reward involved, right? So like Lauren said, that you put down the money, if you completed it, you can get a bonus based on the money you put into it. So these are the 4 elements, right? There are levels involved, there are points involved. You can see the progression indicator, and then there's reward usually involved when it comes to each level that you have completed, either through money or through badges or through recognition. There's one more thing that we noticed that's not included here, and we think that is specific when it comes to, specifically important when it comes to Gen Z, is the element, the fifth element of recognition. So recognition is what so you can see on this screen here, it's a screenshot on people actually, when they completed the challenge, they can take a picture of it, and they can share it with people who are also using the app, or they can, more specifically, they can share with people who are also completing the same challenges. So this is an additional part of gamification that we have noticed on this app that is quite powerful, and I'll explain why. So to read this, right? So yeah, so there's the element of level. So the challenges are broken down into daily challenge, and there's a steady progression that involve, right? So if you look at it, most of the challenges are quite small all by itself. So it could be just walk for 30 minutes. It could be that on the bike for 30 minutes. Some of them is as simply as just go to the gym, sign in when you went to the gym. So these are some of the things that so the levels when it comes to the difficulties, they varies. And also that most of the challenges are broken down into small bite-sized pieces for people to easy to take on. So this is the first thing that we notice when it comes to levels, the challenges itself. And the second thing is you can usually see two things when it comes to the point, when it comes to progression, or when it comes to look at how well you are doing. So the first thing is points. Something that I said earlier is, so point basically is to give you a sense of how well you're doing regarding today's challenge right here, right now. So this is a bit of a real-time feedback, right? To see like, so this is today, how you're doing right now on today's challenge. And progression indicator is to give you a sense of how you're doing overall when it comes to the bigger picture. And when you get, so when you look at the app, they will provide you on to give you a sense of how well you, how many percent you are on right now when it comes to the challenge. And as I said earlier, if you complete 100%, then you get a bonus. I think 85%, then you will get your original money. If it's below that amount, then you don't get your deposit back. You lose your deposit. I think we look at the data, majority of people have not failed the task, have not failed their overall challenge. Most people have achieved 85% plus. So this is very interesting, right? So it actually really works for people that who put in the money or to use this app to complete their daily challenges. A large part of it is the reward part that involve. So reward, we find that the reward usually is adjustable, as you can say, as you can see from Lauren's message in the chat, that you can adjust, right? You can choose, it's customized, right? You can put from 10,000 won to 200,000 won if you have confidence in yourself, or if you wanted to raise the bar, so to speak, right? And we noticed that the element of the reward is very, very fair. All the progress is being tracked, and also there's a high element of transparency involved. If you achieve this certain amount, then you will get this money back, or you will not get this money back. It's very, the transaction is very, very clear right from the start when it comes to this this element of gamification. So people know exactly what they're getting into. And the final element I talked about earlier is recognition. It's the social shareable aspect of this app that is actually quite powerful. And you can communicate, you can engage with people that who are partaking in the same challenge, and they can and once you have completed a challenge, you obviously on this app, for the community engagement part of it, you have the option that you can share it. And you can also see you can see on the screen here, like on this particular challenge, how many people are also doing it, how are they doing, how many people are being successful. So one person is below 85% here, so somebody did fail in this particular task. So this is quite powerful because it created a sense of community, and it also created a sense of in behavior science, I believe, is the norm social aspect of seeing other people do it really motivates and really nudge people in doing it. Because just looking at this By being able to see how many other people similar to you are struggling or being successful. That is really powerful when it comes to behavior science, I believe. And that is one of the strongest aspects that we would say when it comes to the gamification of motivating people to take responsibility, to take action, is this recognized recognition and social and shareable aspect of it, right? Being able to share your achievement and also at the same time seeing other people do it, and that is really powerful. So these are the 5 particular elements that we notice when it comes to Gen Z, particularly in motivating themselves to take on a daily challenge. Levels, points involved, progress indicator, reward, and also the recognition, the social sharing, community engagement part of it, right? These 5 things. And we looked at this and our team wondering, so when we look at this using the challenger phenomenon, this trend, so we asked the questions of, can we use daily challenge in the workplace to engage, to motivate our Gen Z better, to help them to become more motivated when it comes to taking responsibility at work, right? So this is the thing that we got curious. Is it something that can be done? And if so, what are some things that need to happen in the workplace? So we already know that when it comes to daily challenge, is about breaking down tasks into achievable daily challenges for people to focus on that one day at a time, right? To focus on that one task, focus on that one challenge. And then through doing that particular challenge multiple times throughout a longer period to achieve larger goals. So there are some things that we think can help that happen in the workplace and can help managers and leaders or even professionals to make it easier for Gen Z employees and the managers. And one of the things we think would be quite interesting to focus on, and I think we need to put a little bit more focus on, is the point and progression indicator part. When we looked at the app, and we also looked at daily challenge, the elements of daily challenge, right? So when we look at points earlier, we said that points are is an indication on how you are doing today on today's challenge, right? So we believe that managers probably should have a little bit more conversation when it comes to the day-to-day, when it comes to like how the employee is doing today. So I know most of the time in most organizations, performance management are done quarterly basis. Some organization I know that do it once a year, some organization do it twice a year, some organization do it quarterly. But we think that there is rooms for a performance. I'm not saying you have to have a performance review, a whole process going on, but what I'm suggesting perhaps is to have a performance related conversation every day to give your employees some real-time feedback on how they have been doing today in relation to the progress they've made in the bigger picture. That's related to the points part of gamification and when it comes to the daily challenge. And the second thing that the progression indicator, right? Progression indicator is how the person is doing when it comes to the bigger picture, right? So if you set yourself a challenge for 30 days, day 15, where are you right now? So I think this is also a conversation that need to have. This is a little bit more familiar to the traditional performance management approach, where once in a while you talk about how we are doing when it comes to the long-term goals that you have set for yourself or for your business objectives, right? And we do believe that when it comes to Gen Z, 2 things that need to two particular topic can be talked about. The one is the career path. Are you on track to on the career path that you have set for yourself? If you have this conversation before, because we looked at the survey earlier from Tehan Neu that one of the key things that Gen Z key challenges Gen Z have set for themselves is personal development. They do have a desire to develop themselves. So career path, I believe, is a conversation that need to be had regularly. And also another thing that related to the progression indicator is how they are contributing when it comes to the company, the strategy, company's the bigger contribution, right? So this is the big picture. Do they know what they're doing today is contributing to the bigger picture, to the strategy of the organization, right? So manager needs to be able to have this kind of conversation, right? To say what you have done today is part of contributing to our 5 years, 2 year strategy. So we believe that that is important to have a conversation on a regular basis regarding how they're doing right here, right now, and also how they're doing in related to the big picture, related to the longer term. The first one is really important. We believe that because if you looked at how Gen Z, who are born into a world with social media and general interaction with social media, the majority of social media will receive and they can give real-time feedback when it comes to the things that when it comes to the media that they are used to using. When I say real-time feedback, is you on a video that you looked at on YouTube or any social media channel, you can immediately respond to how much you like or dislike this content. So there's a real-time feedback, right? So you don't put up a video online or you don't put up a content on YouTube and then you don't receive any review until 6 months later. And then you have a review on how we're doing in this video 6 months before, right? So this is a little bit on the importance of having real-time review, giving real-time feedback, giving feedback right away on how they're doing when it comes to the things that they are doing is important because they are used to giving real-time feedback. And I do believe that they are used to giving real-time feedback as well, given that your manager should have the skills to give feedback, right? Obviously. So, so we believe that when it comes to taking the elements of gamification and daily challenges, the point part and also the progression indicator part would be useful when it comes to engaging Gen Z. Another aspect that is we believe is useful is the reward and recognition part. So reward I talked about, I think this is just general understanding. Reward should be fair, just customizable, depending on your company reward structure. But transparency, I do believe it's important when it comes to Gen Z and the reward. A little bit on recognition. Recognition is the shareable aspect of the community aspect of getting recognition, right? So these are some examples of some company. Oh, I didn't blur out the E. These are some company examples on how they use recognition as part of it to give people some, not only they give employee the recognition that they deserve, they make the recognition attractive enough that people will want to share it. So these are some of the real life examples that I've seen on social media. So you see that the Rockstar War is a company that, so this is a little bit of a not employee of the month, but recognition is a bit of a recognition program that a company has set. Is they made this little post-it and they make this little clip. So these clips are feedback, positive feedback that managers given to the employees. So they write the feedback and say, thank you to Mr. Lee for doing this and do that, appreciate it, really aligned to our company values, and then they would put it there. And it looks good, right? It looks good and it looks great. And the employee looked at it and said, hey, look at that. I was on the Rockstar's recognition board this time. And they would happy to share it, right? So again, this is about giving recognition that your employee would like and your employee would happy to share on social media, right? And community engagement is also important in a sense that it's probably not a topic that I'll get into today, but in terms of, we looked at a study done in the 90s where, regarding Korean culture and who they trust and who they would talk to. So the study was done by a professor in, I think in UI University. So they give a list of people, like people that you would talk to, do you happily talk to, your friend, your high school friend, your family, stranger on the street, or a foreigner. and they asked Korean to rate from 0 to 100, who would they talk to comfortably, who do they trust. So friends and family is number one, and then it's the high school friend, people that they would trust. Foreigner is the least trusted, unfortunately for me. But this is back in the 90s. But that has changed. That has changed a bit now regarding on how Korean Gen Z interact with people online. A less more traditional base, more about interest based and more community engagement based. Probably a topic that I'll talk about in the next webinar. But going back to this, right, on how to use how to engage your employee when it comes to Gen Z, how to get them to take responsibility and motivate them. We believe that daily challenger, this trend is something that can be useful when it comes to specific elements of this uh, of this trend of setting smaller daily challenges, giving more frequent real-time feedback, provide a sense of reward and recognition based on these daily challenges. We think it is useful. However, there's also, we believe that there's a need for true understanding of the more diverse intrinsic motivation that Generation Z have now regarding their career path and their career choice. Simply because majority of them are working on personal development that's involved their professional development and professional life. So what I mean is we do believe that there is a important emphasis need to be focused on for managers to truly understand what is the career path that their Generation Z prefer or are they are working towards to. I know that a lot of the time they themselves, Generation Z, they might not know as well. And it's important to, as managers, as leader, to help them achieve that. So there is some research done around that. There are eight anchors of career path. If you're interested in using that, go to our website, outthereuk.com. You can download a free toolkit. There's a whole survey to help you and help your whole toolkit and guideline to help you and your team to better understand what are their career path. And we believe that that is extremely useful when it comes to having a better relationship with your employees and also having a much more productive conversation when it comes to performance management and motivate them and getting them to take responsibility. And so, yeah, so we do believe that the trends of daily challenges are useful if we can combine some element of it with a true understanding of the Generation Z's employees' intrinsic motivation. We believe that it would be very, very powerful ways to help your managers to engage and motivate your Gen Z employee to take better responsibility. And so that's all I have for you today. I saw some questions earlier from one of our guests from Anas, it's not. Is it a global trend that managers have some difficulty managing Gen Z, or is it particularly more so in Korea? If it's true, what would be the reason? Does it have to do with the manager characteristic in Korea? So I think it is a global trend that managers are experiencing challenges when it comes to Gen Z. I think there's two parts to that answer. I think every generation would have some amount of difficulties when it comes to managing the next generation. So to give an example, a recent Deloitte survey that I think we showed that in the last webinar is we has found that Generation X is having difficulty managing the millennials. There is a survey that is done, I think done in 2019-18. However, they revisit this survey in 2021 recently, and they find that sure, Generation X is having some challenge with with millennial, but also at the same time, millennial is having some difficulty managing Gen Z as well. So I think it's a global trend to have some sort of difficulties when it comes to managing different generation. But when it comes to specifically in Korea, is it more is it a unique case? I think it's a little bit of a unique situation because of how fast-paced Korea generally is when it comes to work and when it comes to moving forward as a society, when it comes to culture. and other stuff. So there is a tremendous acceleration between the older generation, the baby boomer generation, the Gen X, and also the Gen Z generations. More specifically, I think when it comes, I think your questions involve the characteristics. I think that could be because of the traditional ways of management on certain companies have a very hierarchical approach, where Generation Z might not be open to that kind of leadership or management style. So it could be that, but it also could be the fact that there are some companies. It could be the fact that some companies have a much more rigid approach when it comes to position of experience and seniority. So what I mean is, some company you will not get to a certain positions when it comes to unless you have certain amount of experience and time in the company. So I'm talking about the more traditional approach company, where there is a amount of time that you have to be in a company before you be considered a promotion. So maybe some of those have an impact on that. But research have shown that majority of Koreans do realize that there is a generation issue in the workplace. And unfortunately, they do think that that is a major source of stress for them when it comes to managing newer generation. So I don't think it's, so to answer your question, I don't think it's unique in Korea. So what mean is it? So Iris. Yeah, Iris, absolutely. So gamification actually is very, very powerful. I agree. Particularly looking at belonging, inclusiveness, company, social networking. So I know that some company put in particular effort into using employee engagement system to use gamification as an approach. But if your company doesn't have the budget to set up a whole employee management system, then I do think that something can be done related to how you set goals with how managers set their goals with the employees and how they interact with them. There are elements of gamification that can be done without using technology sometimes. Yeah. So yeah, so we have a little bit of time left. So if you have any questions, feel free to, or if you have any comments, feel free to use the chat and Q&A. And yeah, and feel free to use this toolkit if you wanted to find out more about your employees' motivation, intrinsic motivation when it comes to the career path. So what it is it's a bit of research done by MIT back in MIT the School of Sloan, the Management School of Business. It helps people to have a better understanding on what are some of the things that they would not give up when it comes to their career path. So we find that really powerful when it comes to having a career discussion conversation, and also when it comes to helping people to figure out themselves what motivates them, what do they want to do, so to speak. Yeah. So yeah, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. It's gonna do a little bit of promotion while you type your questions. So feel free to visit our website, and also go ahead and visit our YouTube channel. So our YouTube channel is, our aim again is to create a community of practice for people to exchange ideas, for people to share best practices. So this is our YouTube channel. You can see it, right? Is it showing on screen, Lauren? Our YouTube channel. So you see that you can go ahead and find us, and we are quite regular in our updates. Weekly, we will share some insights, HR related. Sometimes it's, yeah, of course, absolutely, Iris. We will share the presentation and the recording with you after today's webinar. Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. So yeah, so we have a variety of topics regarding leadership, regarding foreign executives in Korea, labor law even. So yeah, a variety of topics. Feel free to check it out. We will keep it updated. And if there's any topic that you would want us to share, to discuss, to research on, then do let us know. We wanted to make sure that we're giving you the right set of content. So today we just updated a new video, which is an interview that we had with the head of people and office management from Asia Development Bank on her view on how COVID-19 has impacted the workplace and human resource as a whole. So do check out our YouTube channel. Okay, good. So if you have no more questions, then I will end the webinar of today. Feel free to visit our website. Lauren has already set up the date for us. So the next webinar will be on the 25th of August. And we will be sharing the detail with you very, very shortly regarding the trend that we wanted to talk about. Again, similar type of setup. What are the trends regarding Gen Z and Millennial in Korea? What are our insight behind it? How is that going to impact you and your people in the workplace? So be lookout for that. You can sign up for that now. And we'll share with you our topic very, very shortly on the next webinar. So thank you for your time, and hopefully it's been an interesting webinar for you, and we will be sharing the relevant material with you within the next couple of days. So have a great week, everybody. Thank you.